I'm just a guy who loves Disney that has way too much time on his hands. If anybody from Disney is watching, please don't sue me. I'm here to rate, review, and describe all of your favorite things from the magical world of Disney. I'm File91e and welcome to my Disney News and Reviews. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Disney News and Reviews. I'm File91e. First off, happy Memorial Day to everybody that is in the United States of America. If you don't know what Memorial Day is, if you're from outside, today is the day where we remember all of the men and women of our armed forces that gave their lives so that we could have these awesome freedoms to say and do whatever we really want to here in America. It's a pretty cool day, but it kind of also marks the beginning of summer. A lot of pools open this year or today, and everything kind of gets started for the summer vacation start and different things like that. So it's a pretty unique holiday in the sense that there is something deeper behind it with the remembrance of of the people that fought and died in the wars and whatnot. But then there's just it's the beginning of summer, so it's a kind of a sad remembrance, but also a beginning of a hopeful future. So that's pretty cool. This past week I didn't have a regular show. I didn't do a regular show last week. That was because I was too busy rendering and uploading the big 13-hour video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For the people that did actually watch it, you guys are better people than I ever could be. I could not sit there and watch 13 hours of it. I even have it. It's on my computer, and I can't do it. But I'm glad that the people enjoyed it. It's pretty much exactly the way it sounds. It's just me and my friends down there, and it's pretty much all the footage that we got from down there, and we had a good time, and filming it and making it. And to me, the best stuff is when we aren't on the rides, or we're just talking back and forth between us, because I think those are the more fun parts that I remember of actually being there, and those are the memories for me. So go and watch it. It is in 2 parts. It's about 6 hours and 45 minutes each. But pretty much that is what it is. It's just a 13-hour video of our trip down to Disney World. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and get a kick out of seeing whole File91e in his natural habitat. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. Didn't get too much else from Disney or Disney-wise or anything. Yeah, so let's get right to the news. Star Wars Weekends, held annually at Disney's Hollywood Studios, is in full swing, with many celebrities and characters from the Star Wars films and television shows taking over the park. It's a very cool, very cool time down there. There are many great events and special shows going on during these times, so if you are down there, be sure to check it out. It's only during the weekends. If you can't make it, InsideTheMagic.net has been posting some pretty awesome videos and pictures showcasing all of the Star Wars greatness happening down there. So be sure to check that out. They're on YouTube as well. Inside the Magic, they have some really cool stuff like the carbon freezing chambers and the dance-offs. They've been making their rounds around the internet, so it's a very cool thing. It was reported back at the end of December 2011 that Sounds Dangerous would be removed from the park maps before Star Wars Weekends 2012. And right on cue, the latest studio's park maps now list the ABC Sound Studio in place of Sounds Dangerous. There is no new attraction yet, but simply a name change to the building. This change would certainly seem to indicate that we have seen the last of Sounds Dangerous at these studios. So finally, they got rid of that craptacular attraction. In the short term, the entrance area to the ABC Sound Studio will be used for Star Wars Weekend's information and event sign-ups. So that's pretty cool. That whole sound studio seems to be just, like a death knell. There hasn't been one good attraction in that area. So I don't know. We will see what they do, in the future. So hopefully they can get something good out of it, completely renovate it and ramp it up and make it awesome. Because God knows. That is like just a black hole for attractions. Marking the June 22nd opening of Disney Pixar's Brave opening in theaters, EPCOT will be hosting Brave the Highland Games Tournament. Located in the Rose Garden walkway from Future World to the World Showcase, it will feature a sand sculpture, kids playground, and sampling of some Scottish culture. The area will be open from June 1st to July 8th of 2012 from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. So if you're down there, check it out. They're going to be doing a whole bunch of Scottish stuff. And what a better place to hold it than in Epcot with the World Showcase right there. That's awesome stuff. Check it out. High performance karting is coming to downtown Disney as part of Car Masters Weekend on June 2nd through June 3rd. Taking place in the downtown Disney parking lot, the cost is $20 plus tax per person and is open to licensed drivers age 16 and older. Each additional ride is $10. All participants must sign a waiver and closed-toe shoes are required. They don't want you chopping off any little bits there. This past week, the New York Times claimed that the upcoming Avatar land to be built in Disney's Animal Kingdom will include a ride that simulates flight. That's pretty cool. This is the first public report of any remotely firm details on any of the actual rides that may be part of the land. Apparently referencing comments made by Avatar creator James Cameron, the New York Times says, Avatar construction is set to begin next year and open in 2015. Design details are secret, but James Cameron, who directed Avatar and is working on 2 sequels, has said that part of the project will include a ride that simulates flight. So that sounds really cool. I'm really interested to see, to see what they do. I mean, maybe it'll be like that new Transformers ride that opened in Universal, or the Spider-Man ride. So who knows? That could be pretty cool. It was reported last week that One Man's Dream would be closed for one day this past week, and we now know the reason. Disney has installed a scale model of the Magic Kingdom's Fantasyland expansion for guests to see as part of the Legacy Continues exhibit inside One Man's Dream. So go check it out. It's pretty cool. The picture was right there. It really shows how awesome it is. And finally, some rehab and refurbishment news. The American Idol experience is scheduled to be closing for refurbishment on June 14th to June 15th, reopening again on June 16th. So if you're going down to Disney World, mark that down, and if you want to go see the American Idol adventure thing. So yeah, that's the news this week. A ton of news. Let's get right to the reviews. Alright guys, I honestly really didn't have any idea what I wanted to review this week. I was going to review the American Adventure, but I want to hold that off until my 4th of July segment. So I actually messaged a friend on Facebook, and I asked him, what do you want me to review? And he mentioned that he liked what when I talked about the Cinderella Castle and gave a whole bunch of information about that, bits of useless trivia and different things like that. So he asked that I would talk about the other main, the centralized main icons in Disney World, being the Tree of Life, Sorcerer's, Mickey's hat, so the Sorcerer Mickey hat, and then there's the obviously Spaceship Earth. So I said, sure, why not? Let's go and I want to finish all 3 of them up today and give you some pretty useless information on these attractions. Well, they're not really attractions; these icons of each of the parks. So let's get right to it. So the first thing I want to review today is the Tree of Life, which is in Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's the big tree. Now this tree stands 145 foot tall, the branches stretch 165 foot across, and the trunk is 50 foot wide with over 320 animals carved into it. It took 20 artists to do all that, so imagine carving 320 animals into a fake tree. Now I'm sorry to burst anybody's bubble here, but yes, that tree is fake. There is no way that that tree was growing in Florida just randomly, and then Disney bought it and then was allowed to carve into it. Believe me, now I think environmental preservationists would have freaked out. So they had to build this tree. Now the story goes, and I found this in my Disney Parks DVDs, is that it was actually built with oil rigging. It's an oil rig base with all these different pipes and things stretching out of it to create the limbs and whatnot. So it is a fake tree. It has plaster and concrete and all that stuff supporting it as the trunk, just so you can figure that out. There you go. Now, if you view the Tree of Life at different times during the day, you will notice that the sun and shadows move, or that as the sun and shadows move, you will see different animals that appear. I mean, there are 320 animals on there. The Tree of Life is made up of 45 secondary branches, leading to 756 tertiary branches, leading to 7,891 end branches, with 102,583 green leaves, each more than 1 foot long at the end of them. So, I mean, it's a pretty big tree. It's a pretty big tree. This also houses the 3D show, It's Tough to Be a Bug. And if you actually, the one cool thing about It's Tough to Be a Bug is the queue. If you actually go through the queue and take your time and actually look at the stuff, you'll actually see a lot of the animals that are carved into the actual Tree of Life. That's one of the better parts of the actual 3D show, It's Tough to Be a Bug, is actually the wait for it. You can actually get a really cool up-close view of a lot of the sculptures. It's very, very neat. Now, there's actually one sculpture that is a lot bigger than the other ones. It's that chimpanzee sculpture that leads right into the It's Tough to Be a Bug loading area. The reason why that chimp is so prominently featured is because Jane Goodall, the chimpanzee lady, the lady that went and talked to chimps and everything, who's really big into conservation and whatnot, she came to Disney and was shown the Tree of Life, and she really enjoyed it, but she wanted to know where the chimps were and why a chimpanzee wasn't featured, prominently. So Disney was like, oh, well, we can do that. So they had a person come in and design or sculpt this chimp, right to the loading area of It's Tough to Be a Bug. It is actually a sculpture of Graybeard, David Graybeard, I think it was David Graybeard, or Graybeard, the chimpanzee that Jane Goodall was, it was her favorite chimp. So she, it's kind of cool that that's there now. That chimpanzee does have a name. It's a sculpture of a chimpanzee. And actually, there's a little plaque right by the actual thing itself, thus, showing or explaining exactly why that chimpanzee is featured so prominently. So that's pretty cool. So what am I going to give the Tree of Life in Disney's Animal Kingdom? I'm actually going to give it a 4 because, icon-wise, it's pretty cool. Even though it is the newest one, it does have a lot of meaning behind it. It's one of the more thought-out, meaningful sculptures or representations of the park. It's very neat. It has a lot of the animals in there. It even houses a ride, which is cool. The Sorcerer Mickey hat doesn't have that tree. That has a lot of meaning, behind it, which is honestly what an icon like that's supposed to have. So very cool. So the Tree of Life in Disney's Animal Kingdom, 4 stars. Check it out, or give it a better look when you go down. Alright guys, next up is the Sorcerer Mickey hat at Disney's Hollywood Studios or MGM Studios. Rather though, MGM had its own, I would say had its own icon that wasn't as big and wasn't really featured as prominently. I mean, it was featured whenever they mentioned MGM, but compared to the Spaceship Earth at EPCOT or the Cinderella Castle at Magic Kingdom, this was the third one, the newest one, and it really wasn't that big. It was the previous landmark was the Earful Tower. The Earful Tower, not the Eiffel Tower, the Earful Tower. It was a 130-foot tall water tower. That really didn't work. And it was designed to be seen from World Drive so that guests would know that they were approaching Disney's MGM Studios. And although it looks like a real water tower, it is not a real water tower. It is fake. It never really actually had any water in it. Because at that time, MGM was an actual working studio, and to keep with the tradition of all the studios actually having their water tower in case of fires and stuff like that, they put it there because that was supposed to be a working studio, and it was a working studio when Disney and MGM Studios actually opened up. So that's pretty cool. Now the current icon is the Sorcerer Mickey hat, and now that was unveiled on September 28th, 2001 as part of the 100 Years of Magic celebration, which in turn marked the 100th anniversary of the birth of Walt Disney and was built to represent the magic of show business and the entertainment and wizardry of Disney. That's pretty cool. it does have a meaning behind it, and the fact that it was unveiled, the 100th birthday of Walt Disney, that was pretty cool. I mean, Disney was born in December, but that whole 100 year of magic celebration was kind of a year-long celebration of the birth of Walt Disney, which is actually pretty cool. Now some useless bits of trivia about this thing. There's a giant Mickey hand that is tipping the hat, which rests on 2 stylized Mickey ears. I had no idea what that hand was doing. I thought it was like pointing up. The fact that it's like, oh, it's tipping the hat, that makes sense. That makes more sense than actually just kind of having it just point up. I had no idea. That kind of got lost to me. Now this new landmark gave guests of Hollywood Studios something that they didn't have with the Eiffel Tower, which was the easy ability to take pictures with that, with the monument in the background, and it also had a more centralized location in the park, thus cementing its place as the new icon. It was easy for people to go, just let's meet at the Mickey hat, and it was there. Before that, when you look down Hollywood Boulevard, it was the Great Movie Ride. That was essentially, I always thought essentially was the icon for Disney's MGM Studios, considering the Eiffel Tower was all the way over off to the side, and you really couldn't take a picture with it. You could take a picture of it, but never a picture with it. It's 122 foot tall and houses a pin station underneath of it. It's a pretty good pin station, by the way, for all the pin collectors out there. The hat, if wearable, would be a size 605 7/8, so you gotta have a big head for that. Mickey would have had to have been 350 feet tall if he were to wear this giant hat. 6 stars and 2 moons adorn the hat, and the hat is painted with a custom technique called chameleon paint, which is actually pretty cool, which shifts color as guest moves around it. The hat changes different blues. It actually becomes more of a dark purple if you walk around it, and you'll see how cool it really is. And the hat required enough paint to cover 500 Cadillacs. That's a pretty cool a bit of trivia there. Now, if I were to rate the Sorcerer's hat, I actually would have to give it a 3. Only because there is no real attraction in it or anything like that. It is just an icon, and yes, the meaning behind it is pretty cool. It's a Fantasia, deals with the movies and whatnot. But it's covering up one of the best attractions at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which is the Great Movie Ride. It's just right in front of it. But it is cool in the fact that a lot of stage shows are performed there. It is a centralized location, so people can't get lost and whatnot. If you just say meet at the Mickey hat, if we get lost, we can always meet up right there. That was something that MGM didn't have. They would have to just meet up at the Great Movie Ride, I guess. But it just seems to be in the way of some stuff. It just kind of was thrown in there. So in my opinion, it's not as good as the Tree of Life or the other ones, just because the other ones kind of have, it was all built around it. This was kind of thrown in there at the last second after, years after it was, after the parks were opened. So that's why I'm giving it a 3 stars rather than 4 or 5, just because, yes, it's cool. There's a lot of really neat stuff around it, but it's just there to be an icon. There isn't really a whole lot of meaning behind it, so, that's just my opinion, and I know people are gonna, be upset by that, but whatever, that's just my opinion. So, the Sorcerer Mickey hat at Disney's Animal Kingdom, or at Disney's Hollywood Studios, sorry, 3 stars. Alright, oh man, this is gonna be a long video. Anyway, the final thing that I want to review today is EPCOT's geodesic sphere, Spaceship Earth. Now, I'm not reviewing the attraction. I've already reviewed the attraction many different times. I'm just going to give you some information about the actual sphere itself. Now, the term Spaceship Earth was coined by Buckminster Fuller, who also developed the structural mathematics of the geodesic dome. It is 165 feet in diameter and weighs roughly 16 million pounds. It has 2.2 million cubic feet of space and has an outside surface diameter of 150,000 square feet. That's a lot of feet. Spaceship Earth is actually 2 spheres, one inside of the other, and the outer shell houses the inner core and the ride system. So there's an outer shell which you see outside, and then the inner system which has the the ride and stuff in it. And there's actually a system for maintenance and whatnot where a guy can actually strap onto this thing and go up and around the sphere to do scheduled maintenance. That's actually pretty cool. It is covered by 11,324 rectangular panels held aloft by 6 support legs that are sunk in over 100 feet into the ground. There's 3 support beams for each and every, for each of the spheres. So there's 2 spheres, so therefore 6 support beams to hold them. And they're sunk deep into the earth, so it shouldn't be, rolling anywhere, if you know what I mean. And construction took 26 months to build. That's a long time when you think about it. That's 2 years. 2 years to build this thing. And honestly, it was well worth the time. It's one of my favorites. Now this is pretty cool. Science fiction writer Ray Bradbury and a host of other consultants and advisors worked with the Disney Imagineers to help develop Spaceship Earth, as well as much of the early storyline. When Spaceship Earth opened, they got Ray Bradbury to come and say, well, let's try to design this thing, and he, they all came up with this and the, how the ride should be, which is actually really, really cool. Now, like I said before, this round ball houses the attraction called Spaceship Earth, which is now sponsored by Siemens, which tells the story of man's development of communication. Now, I reviewed that already. You can check my old videos with that. Here's a bit of a fun fact right there. If Spaceship Earth were a golf ball, a golfer would need to be 1 mile tall. So there you go. everybody kind of mentions the fact that it looks like a golf ball. So you would have to be 1 mile tall in order to hit this thing, which is actually pretty funny. Now, the dome over the years has seen its fair share of additions. In the celebration of the year 2000, a large 25-story magic wand held by a representation of Mickey Mouse's hand was built next to the sphere. And there's also a 2000 put on it, which is that was kind of neat. Then in 2001, the number 2000 was replaced with the word EPCOT in a script font that differs from the park's logo type. So it was kind of I always kind of thought it looked a little weird. When I went down in 2006, I was like, oh, okay, it's all right. It just looked a little out of place, like it shouldn't have really been there. I guess people wanted to kind of spice it up, considering it is just a weird ball. But I like the old ball. That's EPCOT to me, you know what I mean? So anyway, on the morning of July 5th, 2007, EPCOT Vice President Jim McPhee officially announced that Spaceship Earth would be restored to its original appearance, and that the Magic Wand structure would be removed in time for the park's 25th anniversary on October 21st, 2007. Now, Siemens, the sponsorship of Spaceship Earth, is rumored to have requested the wand removed as it did not fit their corporate image. So that could have played a role in getting the that wand out there. But anyway, as of that time, it was removed, and the original EPCOT ball was there. The EPCOT geodesic sphere was there, and I think that's pretty cool. I like the EPCOT sphere. I don't know why. I always have to say, whenever anybody asks me what my favorite theme park is, I have to say Magic Kingdom. But to me, whenever anybody asks me that question, I think they're asking me, what park is your favorite that isn't the Magic Kingdom? Because everybody loves the Magic Kingdom. It's the Magic Kingdom. It's the park, the reason to go down to Disney World. You see the castle and all that, and Pirates of the Caribbean and whatnot. So whenever anybody asks me that question, I always answer it by saying Magic Kingdom is always my first and foremost. But what I think you're asking me is what's my favorite one of the other 3? And I always have to say Epcot. I love Epcot. I love walking in, seeing the sphere. To me, I don't know why, but I always get a little bit more teary-eyed while leaving Epcot when I know I'm going to be not seeing that for a while than I do leaving the Magic Kingdom. I don't know why. For whatever reason, I like Epcot a little bit more. I guess as I get older, I really understand it a little bit more, and I like the representation of what it means, and I love technology and science fiction, so it's really cool. And plus, just looking at that thing, that thing is huge. It's awesome, and I just love it. So, what am I going to give Spaceship Earth at Disney's Epcot? 5 stars. To me, this sphere, this icon is awesome. I love the ride that's in it. I love what it stands for. You can't miss it. You know exactly where it is. It's in a centralized location. You can see it from pretty much anywhere in Disney World. I mean, it's bigger, it's huge, it reflects the sun. You just you notice it. One time when we stayed down there in 1998 down in Disney World, we stayed outside the world. I could see the ball, the Epcot sphere, more clearly than anything else. I couldn't see the castle, I couldn't see the Eiffel Tower, but I could see the Epcot ball, and I knew we were there in Disney World, and that was awesome to me. So I don't know why, but the Epcot Spaceship Earth, the geodesic sphere, is my all-time favorite icon there, just because I don't know, I just it's personal to me, and I just love it. I just gravitate toward it more than anything, more than the others, even more than Cinderella Castle. So you heard it first. I like Epcot a little bit more than the Magic Kingdom, but hey, that's just me. But Magic Kingdom's still always #1, just for everything else that it has. So yeah, there you go. The Tree of Life was 4, Mickey's Sorcerer Hat was 3, and Spaceship Earth was 5 stars. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Well, I'm sorry for the long video this week, guys, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of news, and plus, I kind of skimped out on one last week, so I had to give you your video's worth, I guess. But one thing, if anybody from Disney is watching, please don't sue me. I really don't want to go to jail or be sued or have any of these videos taken down, just because I like doing this so much. I want people to go to Disney World and have a great time and see these awesome icons, these iconic images, and take their pictures with them and everything, because it's fun stuff. Yeah. Now, if you're going to Disney World, go to allears.net, touringplans.com, wdwmagic.com for our latest and greatest Disney news. WaltDisneyWorld.com is good too, straight from the horse's mouth. You can't go wrong with that. And thanks again to all the men and women of our armed forces for helping us and protecting us, and through all this these weird times that we've been having lately. And I know you guys sometimes get a bad rap or whatever from some people who are political whatever, but just know I love you. I thank you guys, and you guys are awesome. So anyway, I'll see you guys next week for another Disney news and reviews, and yes, there will be one next week, so it should be fun. Bye, guys.